One.
Hey, this is Parker from Route For Me. Who do we have on the line?
Hi, Parker. This is Pete.
Hey, Pete. How's it going today?
It's going pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Let's jump into it, Pete. How can I help?
I was referred to you guys by a friend. I'm looking to lower my operations costs for my drivers when they're on the road, and he said that Route for Me can really help me with that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can kind of walk you through the definitive guide to route optimization. It's really what we do. So,
Yeah,
um,
and you know,
you
I'm
know,
a,
route.
I'm a little bit confused. Sorry to cut you off. I'm a little bit confused on exactly what route optimization is.
Yeah. Well, I can explain things. So what I'll do is I'll explain it first, and then I'll actually show you. Be happy to show you that. Route optimization is really the process of finding the most cost-effective way to visit a given set of addresses. A kind of fun fact. I mean, it goes back a long way. 1959. Uh, which, gosh, it's getting to be so much further away now as I age, but it was the first route optimization algorithm was actually written by the National Medal of Science winning mathematician George Danzig in his paper called The Truck Dispatching Problem. So
Huh.
it goes back a long ways. Courier companies, food delivery services, all kinds of other businesses use algorithms, which are just a fancy term for, basically solving a problem, a way to solve a problem. But they use it to save gas and really just make sure their drivers are more efficient. And when you can visit more customers in the same day, you can make more money. So, I mean, that's kind of what route optimization is. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
Okay, great. Um, yeah, so why don't I just jump in and show you how to optimize a route using Route for Me, and show you the process of planning and optimizing a route from beginning to end using Route for Me, and we'll go from there. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and just log in. And can you see my screen? I just want to make sure you can see my screen. I know we.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, great. There's a lot to see here. I just try to keep it really simple. You kind of learn the system after, using it a few times. We try to keep it very friendly to use. But I'm just going to jump in here and click plan new route. And we'll just plan a new route and optimize it. I've got a sample file of quite a few addresses, and I'll kind of show you what people do after this, and show you the comparison. So, getting data in is very easy. Of course, you can manually enter data, you can copy and paste, you can import data from like a Google spreadsheet or a Google sheet, or you can just upload a spreadsheet file. So, there's really handy little guides along the whole way, so we can show you all those. But of course, support's available as well. But ultimately, we want to set up our route settings. We can name this route, so I'm just going to call this sample for Pete. Show you the optimization. We can schedule the start date, start time, so that we can easily find it later on. We can set a service time at each stop, for example, a minute at each stop, or 5 minutes if we want to put 5 minutes in. But ultimately, we're just going to optimize the route. We can create multiple routes or just a single route. So, for example, if I upload a spreadsheet of 100 addresses and create single driver route, that's going to create one route with 100 stops on it, all in the most optimized sequence. Does that make sense so far?
Yep, sure does.
Great. And there's other optimization methods. So you can balance route and you can say, hey, upload 100 stops and split it into 10 routes. So it will create 10 routes for me. You can also let the system decide if you want to minimize, for example. You could say, hey, I've got 10 vehicles available. I want the system to tell me how many vehicles I actually need to use. So, or how many routes I actually need, because maybe I'm doing it with 10 now, but what if I can do it with 8? And I can kind of put in maximum route duration. The system calculates the driving time and tells me how many routes I need. So that's one way to be super efficient. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Great. Of course, you can choose directions, time, driving, put restrictions in. If there's turn restrictions, you can enable those if you want to do that. Some industries don't want to turn left. UPS is famous for this. They only turn right, or most of the time. You can't always eliminate every single turn, but yeah. Set up the route settings, and then we're just going to upload some addresses real quick. I'll just go ahead and grab a sample file, throw it in here. You can see there's quite a few addresses in here. So we've got the address, those matched up perfectly in our file. Let's go ahead and continue to review. We can see that, we're starting down here all the way in Connecticut, but we're going to be going up to the Boston area. The system very quickly found all 89 addresses. If it didn't find them, it would show it as a yellow light to review the address and make suggestions. If it really didn't find it, it would show a red tab here and actually say, hey, we couldn't find this address at all. But since we found them, we click Finish Import, and the system goes to work. You can see that there's a weather notification. So there's actually going to be, it says there's going to be heavy rain in the vicinity. Do you want to increase the service time and or the travel time? So you can actually increase those by a certain percentage or not change it or skip it if you like. So it's actually detecting weather in the area. So that's it. We create the optimization, and now we've got all of these stops that we need to go visit. We just let the system tell us, hey, here's the correct sequence or the most efficient sequence. Does that make sense?
Yep, looks simple enough.
Yeah, so now we just kind of wait for the result. Should be here in just a few seconds here. We've got a lot of different things on the map here. I'll turn traffic off. But you can kind of see, okay, here it is. We start from this location, and now it's it has created a route for us to go visit all of these stops in the correct sequence. So we can kind of see, okay, we're going to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on and so forth. So now we know that we're being efficient. We know that we can give this to drivers. We're not going to be spending extra gas or extra time on the road, which is a big time waster. So if you're not efficient, and especially if you have 88 stops to go to in a day, there's no way to accurately tell. So, for example, what a lot of people do is, let's take this location. One, you got to enter in everything, and it's easier and faster for me to do so. A lot of people use Google Maps. So let's go to Google Maps, and they just start entering stops in. And they say, okay, well, that gives you pinpoints on the map. So if I type this in, I can get directions. Okay, now I have this location. Do I save it? Okay, I've got to go to 88 other stops. Sure, let's save it. Let's go to the next stop. Do we know what the next stop is? It gets pretty cumbersome pretty quickly because you can get directions from one point to one point. So for example, to this point, let's just grab it. I'll take the address. You can see I'm manually doing all of this, putting in the information. It's calculating everything, saying, okay, go to this location. Now, what happens when I need to add other locations, or I need to add 10 stops, or 20 stops, or 30 stops? I have no idea which sequence it really should be in. So it's extremely time consuming just to plan routes that way. And you don't even know if they're optimized at that point. So that's kind of what a lot of our customers come in and say that they've been using. Some just use a map. Some are just guessing. Some are kind of going by gut feel. And it's very difficult. Google Maps is built for consumers that are really only trying to get from point A to point B, not businesses that have multiple drivers and many places they need to visit. So does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
Yeah. So Route for Me automatically sorts your stops in the optimal sequence. You don't have to figure out the best way to sort your stops on your own. So, with Google Maps, you can do all of this work, and there's still no guarantee that the routes you come in that you come up with are actually the most efficient routes possible. So you just want to make sure, and obviously using Route for Me to do that, it's going to take into account many factors that quite honestly, a human being can't actually even take into account, like traffic, construction, weather. You saw that. And using Route for Me, you can kind of guarantee that your routes are always as efficient as they possibly can be. So it allows you to save time, save gas, really improve customer satisfaction, and make more money at the end of the day. So I would just, yeah, if you want to start a free trial, you can definitely do that. I appreciate the referral, and that's the biggest compliment we can get from our customers because they know that it works. So, any questions, or does that make sense?
No, I really think you answered everything today. That all makes sense. I'm really excited to get started with my trial, and I want to get my dispatcher on. And I heard you guys are doing, you guys do sessions to help teach me further. So I'm definitely looking forward to get started.
Yeah, great. All right, start a free trial, and we'd be happy to help. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.